Bom dia. Well, that's not an awful sunrise, huh? Bom dia, tudo bem? Hoje está quinta-feira, and mosquito net, yeah, necessary here for sure. Had a nice day. Oh, my time lapse just shut down. Had a real nice day at the beach yesterday. My normal folks, I think, are down there. I've got to get a picture of the Pousada. You can actually see it from the beach, which is pretty cool. Plan today is to check out Centro Histórico because apparently the church has a really nice view. I'll grab some groceries and stuff really to amp up for Trancoso tomorrow when I leave. Otherwise, I'm going to walk north a bit today. I walked south yesterday. I'm going to walk north a bit today. Praia dos Pescadores. It should be mostly residences, some Airbnbs. We get away from the Posadas hotels just to see what's up there, and then back to the beach kiosk again. It is really low tide right now. You can see a lot of the beach and a lot of that coral. Breakfast, we still got, I think, a good solid hour or so. Boy, that difference between a 7 a.m. and a 7:30 a.m. breakfast, you know, half an hour. It's not really a lot, but it just seems that way. Anyway, that's the plan, and we'll check back later. Yeah, let's look where our water comes from. Corta numero 5. Yeah, I got the spot. This is no doubt. I definitely got the view when these people are heading down for breakfast, probably. That's why I don't buy wheeled luggage right there. Doesn't work real well outside the airport. Okay, so after making our withdrawal from ATM, we're going to stop by the church because I heard that there's some really nice views up there in the morning overlooking the water. So that's where we're going to go and swing by the nearby supermercado just to grab some more water and juice and beverages for today, and then even begin the hoarding process for Trancoso, although finding stuff there shouldn't be an issue. Different scene here at night than during the day, that's for sure. So this is where the whole food truck thing goes on each night. There's a little cemetery here, which is lit up green. This is where I ate last night. Towards the right is kind of the main historical area with the square. Nothing going on today. There's my Cambui supermercado. But we're gonna hit the church and then we're gonna head back to the beach later on. San Pedro, and the place is just dead. Nothing going on. No restaurants, shops, bars, people just cleaning up. Probably still sleeping. Cleaning. Church is right up here. There's Restaurant Salawich. That's what I ate like 2 nights ago. Here's the church up here. Totally different. I always find it really cool when I'm asked to translate. There was a French couple eating breakfast this morning in my Pousada, and Lady Hasepsal asked me, "Brian, please, I need your help. They don't speak Portuguese, I speak English. Can you help?" Yes, of course I will. They just wanted to know if it was possible to extend their stay to the 19th and how much it would cost. So everyone was happy. Yeah, it's always a good feeling. All right, so out of the places I've been to, the times of year I've been there, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, I guess if there was one place I had to compare this to, it probably would be Pipa. Next, oh jeez. Next would be, just, yeah. Next would be probably Jericho. I think would be most similar. Least similar would probably be Jacoma and San Miguel, Praia outside of Macio. But a number of reasons. I think they all have their strengths, they all have their weaknesses, depending on what you're looking on. Price point, services, shopping, beaches. But I've not been to Trancoso yet, so I'm going to reserve judgment until I see that. But there's definitely some similarities and some differences, and I'm gonna try and compare and contrast them as we go along. I will say the places I've been to, Arraial certainly seems to be the most expensive, at least in terms of restaurants, sangas, average prices of things. I think it's right up there with Lençóis and maybe Pipa, but it's certainly the most. I mean, your average price menu is you're looking at over 120 reais, 140 reais average place. There's food truck options, of course, they're everywhere, but I think on average prices are quite expensive here. One strength Arraial has is restaurants, or at least diversity of restaurants. Again, it's almost difficult to find typical Bahian food here. I ate in a French restaurant. You're gonna see a ton of Italian pizza places, American hamburger places. It's a big international scene restaurant. I think that's definitely one of the strengths. It's just the diversity of restaurants and foods here. It brings the next topic, safety. You know, in terms of just either petty theft or traffic, for that matter. All these are kind of out of the way places, and these aren't destinations in themselves, aside from having to come from another place. So Arraial, you're coming from Porto Seguro. In Jacoma, you're coming from Japasol. Pipa, you're coming from Natal. You know, Jericho, I mean, you're coming from Fortaleza. So San Miguel, Praia do Gongo, you're coming from Macio. So these are all places you have to come from another place first. So that's a filter for some of that element. Where you see some beggars, yeah, I did see some child beggars here, but these types of kind of coastal, out of the way, resort type places are really some of the safest places there are in the country. These are kind of bubble worlds, a bit isolated from reality, although you'll see some of that reality seep in from time to time. But otherwise, these are extremely safe places. You know, big thing is just, you know, watching out for traffic. If you're coming from Porto Seguro, which you probably are, and you don't really plan on going much of the places, unless it's Trancoso maybe, I don't see the need to rent a car. There's enough taxi, even Uber services to get you to Trancoso. So if you plan on hanging out here, not traveling too far, a lot of it's walking distance, you don't need a car. I think you can get by here very easily without any kind of rental car. All right, we'll wait till we're actually on the beach to do a little compare contrast to the beaches of these few places we've been so far. But they definitely differentiate themselves. They're not all one plain slab of the same thing, that's for sure. Depending on what you're looking for, you may find one location more applicable to your needs than another. All right, yeah, the dude who brings a drone to the beach is the coolest dude on the beach, at least with the kids anyway. All right, here we go, walking north. Fisherman's Beach, Praia dos Pescadores. I find it interesting, it's so consistent how it seems like wherever I go, usually in places like this, not necessarily big city hotels or whatever, but in places like this, like everyone at Hesapsal knows my name. They all know my name, they all greet me, they all say hello, have a good voyage, good evening, every single one of them, every single one of them. They obviously all know where I come from and whatever, but maybe that's why, I don't know. Oh, the allure of the Americano, I don't know. High tide is 12:15 today, the next low tide is 6 something. I'm gonna try and make it out here for low tide. Low tide tomorrow is 7:15. I'm trying to make it out for that. So far it's more barren towards the north than the south. you see a lot of these just walled off, literally gated little bubble communities inside of a bubble community. I don't get the appeal of this whatsoever. Completely isolating yourself from all the music and food and vendors and sights and sounds and smells of those Oaxacas. I don't get this. To each his own, but I'm curious as to what the draw of that is. Like, safety is just not a concern that I feel. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just for really, really old people. I don't know. They're not cheap, and obviously, this is like what I feel seems to be like the worst stretch of beach in terms of just the seaweed and the algae. These beaches are kind of trashy in terms of the seaweed versus the ones to the south. So, what are you paying? You're paying for worse beaches, and you're further away from markets and shops and food and all. You got to get in your car and drive. So I don't get that. I don't get that. All right, well, this is it. This is Praia dos Pescadores, Fisherman's Beach, and see kind of. I'm not going to hang out long. Walk down here, walk back. The beaches just aren't that clean. I was able to kind of check that before coming down here, just on Google Maps. Check out the satellite views, and you can actually see this algae. So I was able to determine where at least I didn't want to be. And again, you're that much further away from shopping and food trucks and all that fun stuff too. But this is it. I'm probably not going to walk much further than this. Catch a good seat back at the Oaxaca. Go see Gabriel and Mao, and spend most of the rest of the afternoon there. That's it. I guess one of the beach comparisons we'll talk about first, because it's really easiest, is really just the tide. Here in Arraial, it's really not an issue at all. As in Jacoma, also tide, high, low, didn't really matter. There was plenty of beach. With Praia de Pipa, some of the beaches it was an issue. Jericho, you could get cut off if you get the wrong time. Same with San Miguel and Praia de Gonga. So Arraial, at least, tide really is not an issue. In terms of waves, ondas, that can be an issue depending how far you want to walk. Pipa depends on the beach. Jerry, it's not a great swimming beach. Waves were hardly even an issue there at all. Praia de Gonga, San Miguel. Praia de Gonga, yeah, the further south you walk, waves were an issue. Same here. Arraial, the further south you walk, you lose some of that barrier reef as protection. And there was parts, 5 kilometers south of here where it's not real comfortable getting in because the waves are quite strong. But generally speaking, close to Arraial, waves really aren't an issue, high or low tide. If you're looking for a stretch of beach where you don't want to have to take a lot of gear and food, this is the place. Arraial, I've not been to another place where you can kind of not have to take anything because there's so many Oaxacas or beach kiosks along the way, especially towards those cliffs out there. You're never a long walk away from food or drinks or services here in Arraial. And that's not necessarily true of some of the larger, some of the other beaches that I visited at that time of the year, where you could just get lost and not see anyone, and that's kind of correlates. I think while it's not busy here, I think part of that is it's not a ghost town, is because they do offer some services to attract people that, oh yeah, they don't got to pack a bunch of gear, as opposed to like Praia de Gonga. You walk 2 clicks south of Gonga and you got the whole beach to yourself. Same with portions of Praia de Pipa, Bahia dos Golfinhos, and then Jerry, especially Jerry. You can just you can be the only one on Jerry if you want to, because there's just no services, no parking either. In terms of beach activities, things to do, whether or not you've got kids along or not, Jerry, obviously, with kite surf, windsurf, buggies. You've got the lake nearby as well too. Praia de Gonga is just it's a Coca-Cola and beer fueled circus on the Atlantic. That's just like the Las Vegas of Brazilian beaches. That's probably number one in terms of just stuff to do if you don't want to sit around at all. Disco boats, flying, but I mean they have it all. Pipa has buggies, but stuff to do. Here you're not going to see buggies. There's not crazy stuff happening on the beach. Pretty relaxing. More the relaxing side than the activity side. That's for sure. All right, kind of in summary, again, I'll have to amend this to include Trancoso post, but if I were to visit Porto Seguro again, would I come to Arraial? Absolutely, I would. And I would certainly stay at the St. Basaf, no doubt about that. Likewise, if when I visit João Pessoa, I will certainly visit Jacumã. If I return to Maciel, would I visit Barra de São Miguel? Not necessarily, but I would visit Praia do Gonga, but I think I would have to stay in São Miguel to visit Praia do Gonga to do that. Would I go to Fortaleza and not visit Jericho? Yes, I'm in no rush to get back to Jericho. The wind, the sandy streets, really the beaches aren't fantastic, and I'm not into shopping or kite surfing or windboarding or whatever. So I would visit those places. I would visit Fortaleza, but certainly not Jericho again. And I forgot to mention Praia de Pipa. If I were to visit Italian, which I will, I would certainly visit Praia de Pipa, hands down, no question. That place is just gorgeous. So, sorry, Pipa, I forgot about you, but I had a list today. I knew I'd forget something in there. So I'm back at my favorite barraca, where I've consistently had great service and great food. Music, of course, was awesome as well. I'm not sure why the increase in beach vendors, but the day before, yesterday, weren't nearly as many. But today was just a ton of beach vendors, and this was like a Wednesday versus a Thursday, so not sure. Hola, boa tarde. Another really nice, relaxing day at the beach today. Good food, good service. Although I would remind you that your service kind of really depends on what kiosk you're at. If you find a place you like with good service, good food, just stick to it. Because there are not so good kiosks out there. That's my advice anyway. I haven't really spent any time here outdoor at the pool at all. I thought maybe you'd take a shot or so, but I think hands down by far, I've got the best view. Like even the folks like down there, they don't have this view. I would come back here 10 out of 10, no doubt. Anyway, as night falls almost, we'll see what our dinner options are. Had some nice fried chicken for late almost a late lunch today. And set up my time lapse for later, change memory cards, charge up batteries, and prepare for Trancoso amanhã. I have 2 days in Trancoso before another day in Sao Paulo. This is like the vacation that just never ends. It just keeps going and going. It's just wonderful. So we'll see how Trancoso compares to this. All right, that's it. So being my final night here in Arraial, and feeling that I had really seen most of this very small village, there's not much to see, I decided to leave my cameras at the Pousada, just doing some recording while I was gone, and this is what we wound up with. I've mentioned before, and I'll say again, when and if I do return here to Arraial, I would certainly come back to Pousada Beijo, Vento. If not for this amazing view, certainly like the 5-minute walk to the beach, the 10-minute walk to Centro Histórico. I love the location. Of course, the staff was amazing. The breakfast was great as well, and they were helpful in every way possible. My very minor nitpick would be the light pollution. It was just really too bright to take some of these night lapses, so I did the best I could, but that's the worst I can say.